let's jump right into something that feels, well, completely backwards. It's a paradox that drives so many creators crazy. The idea that the harder you work on a video, the more you pour into editing, the worse it might actually perform. It sounds nuts, I know, but we're about to look at why this happens and what it means for your channel.
Right here. This is the core idea we're going to unpack. Let it sink in for a second. This single sentence explains why so many channels just get stuck, why creators burn out, and why they never quite hit their stride. The problem isn't a lack of effort. It's putting all that effort in the wrong place.
So where does this all start? Well, it begins with a fundamental mistake, a trap that's really easy to fall into, especially when you're trying to build that first bit of momentum.
This slide just lays out the whole problem perfectly. As a creator, your logic is, if I add more text, more sound effects, more flashy cuts, it's going to be a better, more helpful video. But the viewer, for them, it's just a lot. It's a high cognitive load. They're not engaged. They're getting tired. And what does a tired viewer do? They click away.
You see, this whole disconnect is built on a really flawed way of thinking, which we can call the linear model fallacy. It's this quiet belief in the back of your head that if, 2 hours of editing is good, then 4 hours has to be twice as good. And hey, if you spend 8 hours, it'll be a masterpiece. But that's just not how our brains or the algorithm actually work.
And Miss Fallacy, it has some serious real-world costs. First, you just exhaust the viewer in those crucial first 30 seconds, and you can literally watch your attention graph nosedive. Then, because every single video is this massive project, you upload way less often. That means you get fewer at-bats, right? Fewer chances to swing, fewer chances for the algorithm to even notice you exist. And this whole cycle is especially brutal for channels in that 1,000 to 30,000 subscriber range, which is exactly when you need all the momentum you can get.
And listen, this isn't some minor issue that only affects a few people. When you zoom out and look at the big picture, you realize the scale of this problem is just staggering. It pretty much explains why the huge majority of creators never really break through.
So just to put this into perspective, let's look at the data from just one market. In the Japanese-speaking world, there are roughly 300,000 active YouTubers. That is a massive number of people consistently creating and uploading stuff.
But here's the truly wild part. Out of that huge number, it's estimated that only about 3% actually get it. They understand this weird, nonlinear relationship between effort and results. That means a mind-blowing 97% are basically trapped, working harder and harder for worse results, and just wondering why nothing's changing.
So, why do they stay stuck in that loop? It's simple. They keep misdiagnosing the problem. When a video they spent 20 hours editing totally bombs, they don't question the strategy. They question themselves. They think, I just didn't try hard enough. And so what do? They double down on the very thing that's sinking them in the first place.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the trap. It's deep and it's easy to fall into. The big question now is, how do you get out? Let's switch gears and look at 3 very specific, actionable ways to escape. This is not about being lazy, it's about being smart.
First up, time boxing. Think of this as some tough love for your workflow. You set a hard, non-negotiable deadline. For example, 90 minutes for a 10-minute video. When that timer dings, you're done. You export the video, no excuses, no just one more thing. Anything you didn't get to? That's just a note for how to improve next time. This forces you to focus only on what's absolutely essential, and most importantly, it gets your video published.
Method number 2 is the ultimate reality check. I call it the zero edit test. A couple times a month, I want you to make a video on a normal topic, but with 0 fancy edits. And I mean 0, just clean, raw content. Then you put its performance side by side with your super edited videos. If the numbers are pretty much the same, well, there's your answer. All those extra hours weren't adding any real value. You can start cutting things out.
And third, for all you data nerds out there, you're gonna love this one. Log your elements. Start treating your channel like a science experiment. Keep a simple spreadsheet for each video and track what you're using. Every text overlay, every sound effect, every type of cut. Then you go into your analytics and look for patterns. Did that flashy intro actually kill your retention? Data will tell you. This is how you systematically trim the fat. So what's the end game here? What does success look like when you actually start doing this stuff? Look, the goal isn't just to save a few hours. It's about turning that saved time into real, tangible, productive growth for your channel.
Let's map out what this could look like. In just 3 months, you could realistically cut your editing time in half, which means you could double your output, more at-bats. Within 6 months, because you're focused on what viewers actually want,
you could see a real bump in your retention. And by 9 months, with more content out there and better stats, you could start seeing the algorithm pushing your older videos to new people. That is what real, sustainable momentum feels like.
And all of this brings us to the single biggest mindset shift you need to make. We have to completely change how we think about editing. It is not a measurement of your effort. It's a design variable. Your time is a finite resource. You can spend it endlessly tweaking one video, or you can invest it in taking more shots, learning faster, and building a much stronger channel in the long run.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to take back to your own workflow. Be honest with yourself and take a hard look at your process. Is all that time you're spending in the editing suite an asset that's actually driving your growth, or is it a liability that's secretly holding you back?